Hey everyone, Max Caven here with TravelWise International. Thanks again for tuning in for another Cruise Day Tuesday episode. As we continue this month's destination immersion episodes, today we're talking about the top 10 places to visit when taking a cruise to the Baltic Sea to the Scandinavian and Russian regions, and why you need to add these incredible destinations to your bucket list if you're not there already. And the best part about it is that we already have group space available on hand-picked itineraries reserved to these amazing destinations in 2021 and 2022, so you can experience on your own. A little inside tip when traveling to the Baltics is the best time and preferred time to cruise there is the summer, with the warmer weather and almost 20 hours of daylight, so make sure you pack your sunglasses, sunscreen, and insect repellent. One of the most notable ports of call you'll most likely visit, or I should say you will definitely visit as long as you take one of our itineraries, is St. Petersburg, Russia. While there are tons of attractions, sites, landmarks, and buildings to visit and all that, there are a couple that stand out and are a must-see when there. And the first place in the top 10 places to visit when cruising the Baltics is the Hermitage in St. Petersburg. The Hermitage is the second largest art museum in the world, founded back in the late 1700s, comprised of over 3 million artifacts and treasures from all over the world. You can find items such as paintings and sculptures, jewels and decorative art, and even sarcophagi and statues. Now also, while in St. Petersburg, the next place when cruising the Baltics you have to visit is the Church of the Savior on Spilled Blood, a former Russian Orthodox church turned museum. This incredibly designed church was built in the late 1800s using medieval Russian architecture, unlike the rest of the city's Baroque style. Now, it was built in memory of Alexander II, marking the exact place where he was assassinated. Now, one of the many benefits of cruising to Russia is that you're actually exempted from obtaining a visa. However, make sure you keep your documents with you just in case the authorities ask you. Alright, so the next place to visit is the Little Mermaid statue, located in Copenhagen, Denmark. Also a typical starting point or ending point for your Baltics cruise. Now, most of us have seen or heard of the cartoon, The Little Mermaid, but now you can see an almost 400-pound, close to life-size version, bronze statue of the mermaid. The Little Mermaid statue has been one of the major tourist attractions in Copenhagen since the early 1900s and is now one of the most photographed statues and famous sites in all of Denmark. Now, as your Baltics cruise continues, the next place to check out is the Hammershus Castle ruins, also located in Denmark, but on one of its many islands in the city of Ronne on the most east Bornholm Island in the Baltic Sea. Now, constructed back in the 13th century, Hammershus was Scandinavia's largest medieval fortress and was utilized until the mid-1700s through various conquering nations. Now, once you've worked up an appetite and had some time to experience some local Danish food, just keep in mind service charges are actually typically included with your meal at restaurants, so no need to add an extra tip, unless you want to, of course. As you continue on your journey to the Baltic Sea, one of the next ports you will most likely stop in is Tallin, Estonia, where you should make sure to visit the Cathedral of Alexander Nevsky. This beautiful Russian Orthodox cathedral is the largest in Tallinn and was dedicated to Alexander Nevsky, who led the 13th century battle against the German forces. The cathedral also holds the largest and most famous arrangement of bells, one weighing 15 tons. And when you're in Tallinn, hike up to the Temppeliaukio hill for an amazing landscape view of the cathedral. Next stop along the sea is Riga in Latvia, where you will see the next top place to visit, the House of the Blackheads, which was constructed back in the 14th century as a venue for the Brotherhood of Blackheads, who are a group of unmarried merchants, ship owners, and foreigners living in Riga. Now, similar to other buildings constructed back then, this structure was also fully rebuilt after being destroyed during the Second World War. Also, one of the benefits of checking out the House of the Blackheads is that it's located in Old Town, where most other hotspots are located. So when you check out the House of the Blackheads, you can actually see almost next door some other main attractions in Riga. The next top place to visit, or actually next two top places to visit, are in Helsinki, Finland. Now, the first is the Temppeliaukio church. It's a Lutheran church in Helsinki built directly into solid rock. Now, it's also known as a rock church for obvious reasons. This is actually one of the popular destination attractions in Helsinki, and due to its amazing acoustics, it's often used as a concert venue. Now, the second top place, also located in Helsinki, but on islands of its own, is off the coast, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site called the Suomenlinna Fortress. Now, interestingly enough, construction of the fortress actually began when Finland was a part of Sweden, ruled for about 60 years before being taken over by Russia ruled for another 100 years, and now Finland after they gained their independence from the Russian Revolution. An interesting fact, Helsinki is actually one of the world's coldest capitals, with average temperatures below 0 degrees Celsius. But don't worry, you'll probably vacation there during the summertime with mid-60s to low 70s, perfect temperatures and weather. Now, one of the last places to make sure you visit during your cruise to the Baltics is the Visby Town Wall in Visby, Sweden. It's on Legoland Island and another UNESCO World Heritage Site. The town wall is actually one of the most intact medieval walls in Scandinavia that was built during the 13th and 14th century. The more than 2-mile stretch of wall encompasses over 30 of the original more than 50 towers once standing. And the last place to visit during your cruise to the Baltics, which happens to also be in Sweden, and also on an island, is the colorful medieval town of Gamla in Stockholm. Now, one of the most preserved medieval city centers in Europe, Gamla is now a compact, bustling city full of cathedrals, museums, and even the Royal Palace of Sweden. Now, I didn't talk too much about food and drink as I usually do when highlighting destinations, but one interesting thing I want to bring up about Sweden is a term called fika. Now, this translates to something along the lines of coffee and cake break. And granted, I'm a huge coffee person. This is pretty awesome that it's cultural practice to take 2 10 to 30 minute coffee breaks during the day and just enjoy a nice cup of coffee with others. Now, it has to be with others, or if you're alone, it'd be called taking coffee. But it's a nice practice to have of socializing and just being able to refresh and recharge. Well, that's all the time we have for today, everyone. I hope you learned something about the benefits of taking a cruise to the Baltic Sea and experiencing the culture, history, and architecture of the Scandinavian and Russian regions. Now, with so much to see and do on your next Baltics cruise, I'd love to spend more time helping plan your next experience to the Scandinavian nations. Also, if you aren't doing so already, please follow our Facebook and Instagram accounts and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If there's a destination you'd like to hear more about, let me know and we might be able to feature it on our next Cruise Day Tuesday episode. Stay tuned next week as we wrap up this month's destination immersion episodes, December 29th, next Tuesday, for an inside look at cruising to Japan. Again, I'm Max Caven with TravelWise International, and if you have any questions or ready to start planning your next cruise, give me a call at 301-248-8898 or send me an email at cruise@itravelwise.com. We'll see you next week.